hundreds of people, as we know, flocking there to show their support for former President Jacob Zuma. COVID-19 health regulations largely ignored, with people even flouting the wearing of masks, and there's no social distancing. Well, our senior reporter Aviwe Mtila is in Nkandla. We understand lots of action there at the moment. We're seeing blockades of the road. We're seeing some police, Aviwe, finally. What's happening there?
Yes, 3 kilometers outside in Nkandla, there's about a dozen police vehicles here and about 30 or so policemen on the ground setting up a roadblock. This roadblock literally was set up some 5 minutes ago, and as we speak, there's a delegation, a convoy of about 50 cars, again, once more, coming through. I suspect they were making their way from to the Nkandla homestead with the president. In fact, here's a Mpumalanga leader. I suspect it's a Mpumalanga delegation. I want to talk to the leader of the Mpumalanga delegation in the Eastern Cape.
Why you block the road? Why? Why you block the road in South Africa? We are free. We are not democratic country.
It's because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Shoot us, Mosh. Want to die for Zuma? Why you do like this? Unless you keep Zuma a serious problem. Huh? Why you block the road now? Want to move?
Live on eNCA, we're giving you pictures. It looks like the Mpumalanga delegation that has arrived here, about 50 plus cars that are making their way here, and the police have been given orders to block this road. They're only allowing residents of Nkandla to pass through here. They want some form of verification that indeed they are residents of Nkandla. As we see, we saw about a minute ago a car being led through here. The police are seeming to gear themselves up with shields, and you'd see in the belts there are what looks like rubber bullets, shields in hand, and the clear standoff as the Mpumalanga delegation of the African National Congress that is here to support the former president. It looks like they are...
Today we are going to arrest Zuma. Go there. Zuma's house is there.
Quite angry Mpumalanga delegations as the talks are still going along. I'm going to try to sneak in my microphone as the leadership, it seems, are talking to the police here. I'm going to try to sneak in my microphone there.
Disaster Management Act Alert Level 4. No gatherings are allowed. We already have much too people at the back. We are not allowing any more people to go past this point.
Okay, no.
We are acting under the Disaster Management Act. So we are not allowing people beyond this point. No more, sir.
No, correct. We cannot. Colonel, wait. That's incorrect. You can't say you're going to stop this particular crowd and allow the other crowd.
Are you seeing the gathering?
Yes, I can see the gathering.
This is a gathering.
Now I'm asking you, what about the gathering that's already there?
Sir, I'm sorry.
But Colonel, you can't say you are sorry. Explain to us. Give us the rationale behind your decision to say, okay.
We are not allowing people beyond this point.
Why this particular crowd? That's what I want to know. Why this particular crowd? Because the other people. No, it is. It is the particular crowd.
The numbers are already way too big, sir. We cannot allow more numbers.
No.
We cannot allow more.
There is no number that is allowed here or not allowed in terms of this gathering that is here now. So that's why I want to know.
Sir, are you calling yourself a responsible councillor?
Yes, I am.
Then please. You are seeing that we're having a gathering now.
No.
Alert level 4 is not allowing no gathering, sir. No, sir.
We were driving and you stopped us. No, so it's a gathering now because you stopped us.
An ongoing conversation there between the police colonel and what we understand is one of the councillors from the African National Congress as the Mpumalanga delegation arrived. We are some 3 kilometers outside the homestead, Nkandla homestead, where there's way bigger crowds than what you're seeing at the moment. There are literally over 50 cars, even going beyond my seeing point here, that are making their way here. You can see a lot of them not wearing masks, a lot of them singing songs, not socially distancing. The concern that has provoked the police to cordon off this stretch of a road, which is about 3 kilometers outside the Nkandla homestead. So the police are gearing up themselves, standing fast in a line here, clearly not going to let them through, but there are plenty more people, seemingly, Uveka, that will be making their way here. As you can see, those cars there, at least 50 cars that were trying to make their way through here. I saw one of the Mpumalanga ANC leaders, whom I'm assuming this crowd is part of that Mpumalanga delegation. That Mpumalanga delegation that we saw yesterday, they're telling even the police that the police must shoot them, as much as they say that they're willing to lay their lives for the former president.
Well, I think I'm afraid it might be too little too late for this situation, Aviwe. I mean, this should have been stopped days ago, and I shudder to think, I don't even think that there are enough policemen from what we can see on camera to handle a crowd of this size.
This crowd is a bit too big, Uveka. There are about 30 policemen on the ground here with the delegation that looks to be way more strong. I'm going to try go to the other side once more to understand what's happening on them and what their plan is going to be.
I'm asking why they close this road. Why they close this road?
There are fears of COVID-19. It's clearly a pandemic that's ravaging.
That is nonsense. That is nonsense.
Gentleman not wearing a mask himself, one of the Mpumalanga leaders not wearing a mask himself, but yet asking why the roads have been closed. Of course, we're in the middle of a pandemic. As you can see, they're trying to even come closer here. I'm going to show you the other side where the police have blocked it off, cording off with the shields there, Uveka, blocking it off. About a dozen cars of police vehicles against these 50 strong cars here.
Aviwe, I can see that this, at the moment, can only end badly. And one would imagine if the former president is in his home and he's watching this, surely he can hear this from where he is. It is his duty to come out to his supporters and make sure that, you know, they understand exactly what's at stake here. But it actually doesn't seem like they are his concern at all. It's just basically he's all out for himself. That's what it seems like at the moment. And they don't get that.
Seemingly so. Even in speaking to some of the ANC leadership, they tell you that theirs is against their grievances and what has happened to the former president, but not really mindful of the pandemic that we're under at the moment, not really mindful of the situation. As you can see, many more coming through now, making their way through the convoy that has been stopped in its track. I understand it's the Mpumalanga delegation that was here yesterday in numbers. Once more, the cars that we saw drive in yesterday, I'm assuming this is them, as I've seen some of that Mpumalanga leadership. I want to take you through some of these cars, as you can see them, the droves of people coming through. No masks, hardly socially distancing, almost oblivious to the COVID-19 pandemic that we're in at the moment. It's quite ironic that the police would make this roadblock some 3 kilometers outside the Nkandla homestead, where actually there are plenty more people. I'm assuming more than 1,000 at the actual Nkandla homestead. Not quite sure what will be done about that, but in having a off-camera conversation with I understand the colonel of the police here is suggesting that there are more reinforcements from the way, and I saw even some of the police vehicles that we've been seeing here, they say they are from the Western Cape. So it looks like there are reinforcements from countrywide coming in to try and deal with the situation from the South African police service. But the cars that you're seeing are the cars that have been stopped in their tracks as they were making their way to the former president's homestead in Nkandla, where we suspect more than 1,000 people already have gathered there. You see they've been stopped on their tracks as they were making their way there. About about a dozen police vehicles with some 30 strong policemen trying to shield them there, making a line on the way. But I'm not sure how long this will actually happen up until something sparks, because it looks like none of the two are willing to budge. Earlier on, remember, Uveka, we saw that similar situation where even Kolnias was a bit further up this very road as you turn in on that road. That confrontation lasted about 5 minutes where the police backed down and opened up. I don't know what's going to happen here, but what's happening? They're saying that they're locking their cars now, and then they're going to make their way, I understand, there from the side. They're saying that they'll lock their cars. Some of what I'm trying to get from the ground. It looks like they'll lock their cars and then move around. It looks like they're not backing down in terms of wanting to go inside. Even one of them is screaming that, do we need permission to go to Nkandla? But the policeman made it clear that only residents would be allowed to pass through here, and those residents themselves would have to show some sort of proof that they do indeed live around here. But you heard some of the voices. One of the Mpumalanga leaders saying that the police must shoot them, I beg your pardon, as they seem to not even want to back down. I'm going to try to make my way back again to the other side to find out if there are more conversations that are currently happening in trying to put resolve to what's happening on the ground, as the Mpumalanga delegation of the ANC is being stopped in its track as it's trying to make its way to the Nkandla homestead, where there are plenty more people that are not adhering to the COVID-19 regulations there on the ground, with some even ANC leaders and members, even the son of former President Jacob Zuma, Edward Zuma, suggesting that he does not care about this COVID-19 pandemic. They're in the middle of a war, he put it, and in a war there will be casualties. So we understand they're saying that they're putting their lives amid of this ravaging pandemic that is really ravaging the country. We've made it through to the other side of the police, trying to see then what's going to happen from the police's side. But it looks like a standoff at this stage, with the police with their shields in hand, and even some of them backing each other up in trying to stop this crowd from coming through here.